Sorry.
Oh, the last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay,
It will definitely fit in that. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, the stream is muted. I forgot to punch the button. Now we're not muted. Okay.
I'm just saying.
It will definitely fit.
Oh,
But now we need to turn.
Who's in there?
Sorry, guys, the stream is muted. I forgot to punch the
Why?
button.
Is it just Annie?
Now we're not muted.
Why is it doing that?
Who's in there?
Sorry, guys, the stream is muted.
Maybe we just have to, just don't hit mute, but turn, I think you can turn the volume on the computer on. Maybe we just have to. Since we don't have any.
Huh, that's weird.
Okay.
Okay.
So should we go through this line by
I think
line
we could,
or?
I think that's probably a good idea to do that. The, I think we should leave the equipment, the fundraising, I think 5,000 right now is appropriate. What?
It would have been helpful to have like year-end numbers for 2023, but
Oh, he
I
does.
think about that one.
It does?
Oh, no, Chad does.
If that does, okay. I'm just curious because it's just at 0 now. I know you think we'll fall within that, but if it,
Oh, thank you.
Chad,
That's the whole packet.
Okay, got it.
thank you, Chad.
Thank you very much. I'll pass this one over.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the plan that Alexis did, right?
No.
Oh,
No,
no.
this
Thank you,
is the actuals.
Oh, this is the actual, okay, sorry.
I can actually, I don't know if I am on the,
I don't know if we
print?
need it, but
I have it up on my computer.
So that's helpful to know, just that we weren't like close to 5,000. So if we
Yeah.
leave it at 5,000.
And what we spent last year is probably
200.
solely.
The fundraising appeal.
Yeah, is solely the appeal.
Yeah.
That would be my guess, if I remember correctly.
We really need to do this line by line,
Mhm,
starting from the top and working down,
mhm.
instead of skipping all over the place.
Yes.
Yep,
Okay, so you have donations. Does the board want to set a fundraising goal for itself?
We're looking at.
You're at the top where it says income,
uh-huh,
okay?
yes, we should.
Okay, and what is that goal?
Okay, so the projection that Alexis did, for this year, we set it, I think it was, 5,000 or 15,000. But she had set, 27,000. So the idea is that from year to year, we would increase our fundraising goal, you know, to like start ramping us up.
Are you talking about the total, or are you talking about just the board of trustees?
Yeah,
total.
the total, I think.
Okay, let's
Would
let's
be
do the
what-
board of trustees first. We
Okay.
gotta go in order here.
So right now that's at 0
Right,
where we are. Well, the budget for 2024, we're at 42% of our budget.
But that was the whole thing.
Mhm. So the total donations we budgeted for 2024 is 15,432.
yeah,
Okay.
and we only brought in,
as of yet, we've
Six,
only
As of
done,
right now.
we haven't done any appeal yet.
Mhm. So, I mean, looking back at the appeal, it looks like it was 8,300 last year that we brought in. Prior to that, 4,100. So what are we anticipating bringing in? What did we budget for 2024, I guess was the,
There was no specific
there's
budget
no specific budget for
for the
that.
board of
Okay.
trustees.
can I
Okay.
ask a question?
Mhm.
So this, 8.3,
Mhm.
this is what we made from the appeal?
Yeah, it looks like it.
I think so.
Okay.
There were the postcard. Well, you
This
were
would,
here.
yeah, but I just want to make sure that I'm reading the numbers correctly. So in theory, we think we'll bring in another $8,000 with this new $8,000 to $10,000 with this new button. fundraising
The
appeal.
annual appeal, is it just like a mass postcard? Are we doing letters, signing, personalizing at all? Or is it just?
We didn't do any of that last year.
Okay.
But you guys put together a lot
Yeah.
of information.
Yeah.
right?
So that was your hope, right?
I said at the last board meeting, my thought was, I like your idea of doing the tiered letters. But I would save that for next year
Yeah.
and do the postcard, pretty much what we did last year, just expand it to the,
The outer Pine Plains.
yeah.
Okay.
So. I think that. We should do that 100%. I think that we should also. Target. Some individuals for specific. Donations, so that's what the newspaper is doing, not to share too much, but that's basically what they're doing, and they've had a lot of. Some significant success. From wealthy
Yeah.
local donors who have foundations, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So,
'Cause I was thinking, I can think of at least 10 people off the top of my head that if we did work that letter. We
Exactly.
would probably get $500 to $1,000
yes,
based on the more giving.
right, so I think we should. I think we should do the mass appeal, and then I think we should figure out who are
Who are the people we could?
the 20
target?
people that we could send letters to,
Mhm.
personalized letters to.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and see where we go just to ramp it up.
Mhm. Do you want to do that for 2020?
I would do it for 24.
I think we have
And
to.
according to the newspaper, who has like a fundraising consultant that it's free, but they work with like a fundraising consultant that basically, November and December are the time to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's sort of stating the obvious.
At
but-
Willow Roots, we're honestly waiting till the spring because that's when we need the donations, because everybody gives in November and December and food pantries are one of the first, but so we're waiting till the spring. So I feel like
When you're in a more of a
when
lull,
we're in a more of a lull, but
Right.
I feel like, yes, I think November and December are
right?
the best times to do that, especially for the people with foundations. I think that they're looking at the end
Okay.
of the year. So
So
I
we
mean-
should, it sounds like with those things, we should be able to exceed the 8,300 from last year.
I would think so.
So will we make the 15 budget this year?
And then our goal is to increase this year is start planning something, whatever that may be,
For
2020.
for next summer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to have
for this
an
coming
event.
year. So
So what number do we feel comfortable with for 25 is gonna be Ted's question.
Right, no, and that's it.
For
So-
line one.
So again, the
It is.
projection that Alexis had done, that I have up on my screen, was 27,000 total for the donation.
For 25?
For 25.
I think that
So-
seems aggressive.
I
but-
think it does. I would say, I was thinking if we budgeted 20, for 2024, we budgeted 14 for all of it. I was gonna say raise it to like
Mhm.
18. That would be. Hopefully, we will go over that, but I feel like. I mean,
Is that a
jumping,
total or is that the boards?
that's the
That's the
total. So for the
total.
board, we could say. If we brought in 83, we can estimate that we'd bring in, so for the board, maybe for 2025, say 10,000 would be our goal for 2025.
Okay, and then we need to do donations for corporate.
So could we up that and see if we could do, so the 5,500 includes the Dee Dee Barrett
Do we,
and,
so on the projection, then this is, again,
We got it.
projections can go
Yeah.
out. We just had one number,
yeah,
we didn't actually break out the other
but
two.
we should, from Ted's point,
Doesn't make any difference to me. I'm saying,
Yeah.
my question to you is, does the board want to set its own goal, what it wants to do? If yes, fine. If no, fine too.
See, I think. Yeah,
overall, if we're looking at raising, so right now, what we have with Hannah, we have, the budget for this year is 15,432. If we just bump that to 18,000 and say, well, figure out whether it's
Mhm.
gonna be, I think that's
How it
probably
is.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair. And if we can't, if we don't, I mean, the annual appeal is only gonna last as long as it's gonna last, and then could we go back? That would give us more flexibility to go back to corporate sponsors or
Uh-huh.
other
yeah.
personal donations to see.
does the 5,519 include the DD Bear at 5 or no?
Well, it's set 5,000 at least for next year.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for her, it's
Yeah.
55,
It's,
but that
it's
doesn't,
for, it's for next year.
is that included?
Is that
the-
included in this
This is 15,000.
number? This January to August
This
number?
current one, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
included in that.
Okay,
And does that, was there a Stewart's?
I don't think, I didn't see one.
No, okay. I thought somebody had mentioned Stewart's having a.
they
Yeah,
often
whichever
give
grant,
small,
yeah.
Yeah.
they often
and
give
Dyson.
small gifts.
She did look into the Dyson, you said we don't qualify for the Dyson mini grants
Mhm.
for whatever reason, but.
But I'm applying for a
Okay.
seed grant and then we'll do the Berkshire Taconic for legit next year.
Uh-huh.
I think
And I
that'll
guess those go under grants down below, but,
be fine.
And I can introduce you to one of the women who like hands out the grants too. She lives in Pine Plains
For which
for
one?
Berkshire Taconic.
Okay.
mhm.
Oh, I've got a great, we're doing great, but that'd be
Okay,
awesome.
okay.
That'd be awesome, yeah. They've been
Someone
very-
was when I went to the sustainability event, someone was saying that the Bank of Greene County gives a lot of grants in like the $1,000-2,000 range. But you have to kind of move fast when they pop up. I don't know whether we would, because we're not in Greene County or Greene and Columbia. I don't know. I don't think they
Yeah.
care.
Okay,
So for donations total, do we want to put the 2025 budget at 18,000?
18, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
then we won't necessarily spread out the budget for the three categories.
Yeah.
then. Okay.
I think.
okay, equipment use.
Has that number ticked up because of the faxing and the things, or people not? That's income, so income from the copier,
Yeah, that's it.
that's it, okay.
2021, we got $800.
Yeah.
So that's almost tripled
Yeah.
in a couple of years.
Mhm.
But look at, sorry, I can't speak. Actual in 23 was almost $2,500.
Yeah,
Right. And so it's,
What's the difference between 23 and 24?
But this year, it's only been $996,000
Yeah.
through August.
Right, so,
That's my point. So we're back on track to do roughly 1,400
mhm,
if it
Okay.
stays the same
mhm,
path. So this year seems to be a little bit of a fluke, but
yeah,
2020 is more
mhm.
accurate, or excuse me, 2022.
mhm.
yeah, I wonder what happened in 23 that it jumped just so much. So maybe we,
There was one person coming in and just doing like gobs of copying.
so do we
So
budget
we're
for
the same thing.
1,300? To go
Do
back
you
to,
think 13 is more accurate?
Well, if we
or-
double 996, right?
Well, this is revenue, right? We're,
Mhm.
what are we,
We're on the equipment copier.
yeah,
So if we're halfway through the year at 996,
yeah.
in theory, we would make that for the rest of the year, potentially,
yeah,
right? So
well, this is through August, so it's
a little more.
a little bit more, yeah.
So do we want to say
2,000 or
1,800?
15
15, that might be,
is a little low. 18?
15, I don't know, 15, if we're looking at, well,
Gonna do the math per month?
it can vary.
It's $125 a month.
Okay, and we have
We can do that.
September, October, November,
So
December.
125 that's 1,500.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
let's
15
do
would be better,
1,500.
yeah.
And if it goes over, it goes over.
Yeah,
Mhm.
fines are 0.
Yeah.
And then friends, Zero.
Oh, yeah, I thought we got rid of fines. We
did.
personally got rid of fines, but the.
Every once in a while, something
Yeah.
rolls in that they have to pay a replacement or something.
You have to
Okay.
book
I
or
think that's
something that
where it
needs
goes.
replacing.
It goes in.
So we didn't get any money from the Friends? That's not accurate, is it? Or is it in kind and it doesn't
For
count?
funding, we didn't get anything. We got the 500, as you see right below it, in grants for the summer reading.
Okay. Okay, got it. So we expect to get that again next year, right?
Hopefully more.
Well, we thought we were gonna get $5,000 in grants.
Yep.
And these grants are not just from the Friends, these are grants from everyone.
Mhm.
So is the Dee Dee Barrett supposed to be in this number, or is it supposed to be in the upper number?
Corporate number.
This one,
It's supposed to be
maybe in
in
the
this
Mid
number.
Hudson actually, because Mid Hudson
Distributed it.
distributed it.
And that, so the 5,000 is in the 555,
Correct.
okay.
So the 1,500, does Mid Hudson give us an additional grant every once in a while? So that is that,
Whenever they get it, they send it. I mean, I don't,
It's not,
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you
Okay.
about that. It just comes.
Mhm.
So we budgeted that we were gonna get, are these numbers on the wrong lines?
I
no,
mean, if
we got 500
I
from the
don't think we
Friends.
expect
Friends.
anything from Friends,
Right.
truthfully.
Okay, so Mid Hudson, we thought they were gonna give us $1,500, but in actuality, including the Dee Dee Barrett grant, we've gotten $5,556.
Correct.
Okay, so next year, we should expect that we'll get the $5,000 from Dee Dee grant,
Mhm,
Dee Dee Barrett,
mhm.
the grant from Dee Dee
Mhm.
Barrett. Again, right?
Mhm.
Are there any
And
other?
are there any
Mid-Hudson
other grants?
grants that we would, are there any other Mid Hudson grant? No, so
That I'd-
but we can just put 5,000 for that.
Yeah,
And
mean,
then
that-
for
is
other
that-
grants,
huh?
Isn't it 555?
I think it is 555. It
Okay.
varies slightly, so I think from one, but it's 5,500.
so
So
we'll budget for 5,500,
Mm.
and then if it's a little bit more, that's great. And then for other grants, so we have the $500 from the Friends. Are there other grants next year that you think we may?
Well, you know, you're gonna get the legit grant.
we have to apply for it again.
Okay, so figure that one in.
Yeah.
What's
can
the
do-
legit grant?
So Legit Grant is for the teen board that we have. We're doing the series of the cooking one is next week, the financing one, the
Mhm.
resume, the college prep, those kinds of those. Alexis left right as that was getting going. It's taken me a while to get going with that too. But
Was that the Berkshire to the County grant? Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what that is.
so I've got a
So-
whole bunch planned for next year. Hopefully we'll get the same amount. I think it was 5,000 for that or
Okay,
4,500.
Okay, so
So,
that's,
so we're not getting it for this year, so we're gonna miss the number this year. Is that correct?
No, we got it for this year. I don't know why is the other grant was that from, that was 2023.
it was
Okay.
2023 money that we didn't get this year.
So the grant got extended.
Okay. But the cash came in 2023 then
Yes.
to use for 2024.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense then. So if we budget for 5,000 for grants as well,
I'm hoping, yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm applying for the 2,000 for seed,
Okay.
and then I'll apply for the legit grant opens up after first quarter of next year, so January, I think, of next year. So
Okay.
the next one.
So miscellaneous other.
So 0 for the Friends, 5,000 for under the grant line, 5,500 under the Mid Hudson line.
Yeah.
Am I correct so
Yeah.
far?
And then nothing for miscellaneous, nothing for other,
Okay.
and then the town of Pine Plains.
It's
that
flat.
number, Flat, yeah.
1, 6. Should ask one more money.
And unless you have a
We
problem.
have to go back.
I know.
When you, I mean, I think, so actually on that, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Going back to the town, I'm wondering whether we shouldn't not, I mean, whether we should not ask for money during a town supervisor race to make it an issue. Cause I could see Brian, if he's running again, making it an actual issue.
Is he gonna run again?
I don't know. That's the other thing. But I think we should be ready to think about running next year for more money because it'll look, I mean, the number will look smaller, like the percentage increase will look like be something we can talk about, like,
Mhm.
you know. But I don't know.
I think there is something for doing it in an off cycle year, because people who want it are gonna go vote, people who don't want it probably,
Right.
you know, it's,
So actually my,
I don't know, say.
What were you gonna say, Ted?
I want to move miscellaneous out of funding and give it its own line.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah,
and what is that, like people leaving just pocket change here?
It's just a,
Any other, I mean, that could even be like if we get. Not where we're gonna get bank fees.
Yeah,
but
we're
we
not
do,
gonna-
but then we get some contributions like, there's a rebate on the insurance. And there are a couple of other, and the miscellaneous, people come in here and they buy things for the friends, they buy things for the Little Nine Partners,
Mhm,
mhm,
and it kind of confuses it all.
mhm.
So I want to leave other where it is for funding, and I want to move miscellaneous in its own line, so we can keep track of it.
right, and we just need to budget 0 for that because there's
Yeah.
no way to
Right.
predict how much that will end up being.
So that brings the total budget for income to 196,900. Which is up slightly. One of the things that would be interesting thinking about income and all of the digital items you have, could we create some sort of wish list for books? So when people are like requesting books and we have to get it from another library, is there a way we could say, this is here's if we send it out like in the email or just some way of saying, here's a wish list of all of the books that have been really popular in our library. We'd love to have them in our library. And give it to people to purchase to donate.
That's a good idea, except for the biggest expense is audiobooks,
Is
which
audio,
we
mhm.
can't, because it's through Libby. I
Yeah,
mean, it is.
even if it's the audiobook, the title of the audiobook, $20 donation
Mhm.
to cover part of the cost of
Mhm.
us purchasing that audiobook. Just a way to kind of think of outside the box when people are requesting, because
I think,
there have been a few books where I've looked at and I'd be like, oh, I'd have to request it through somebody, but it's only $8 on Amazon. I'm just gonna buy it myself. You know, and I hate to say that to all of you, but at the same time, it's like,
Yeah,
it's the reality,
easier.
and it would get here in 2 days as opposed to, you know, not that the library system takes that long, but it's just a
I
thought.
think adding an area where we are someone's telling us how to spend our money is a really dangerous track.
Yeah,
to
it just
go
puts it
down.
into restrict, but we
Well,
could phrase it in a
Yeah,
way.
kind of like, remember where it's like UNICEF, it would like give everyone a peanut butter sandwich give a child a peanut butter sandwich
Yeah.
every day for a year.
Yeah,
It's like, you know, that doesn't mean necessarily your money's going to the peanut butter sandwich,
Right.
but it could go to the.
but
peanut
it's
butter
helping
sandwich.
offset the cost of whatever book.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't, well, this is a board, well, I don't know what I can talk or not.
You
You
can
can-
talk
absolutely.
anytime.
I don't-
Yeah.
I really don't like the idea. This is the free library.
Mhm.
I pay enough in taxes.
Mhm.
How can you ask me now to pay for something?
Right.
I would agree, and I would think we would have to find a way to phrase it where it's not, we don't have the book, buy it for us, but more. We are trying to rebuild, because the children's collection, you're looking at trying to rebuild through the children's collection, and for the holidays, there's some people who. Might say, oh, I'm not gonna give a $10 donation up to the annual fund or whatever, but yes, my kids use the library, I would love some money to go to buy new books. I think it's in the way you're phrasing it more than.
So I would see that, but I would say it as a fundraiser.
A
Like
fund-
I need,
absolutely,
I
yeah.
need new shelves in the
Mhm.
children's area so that we can properly house the books that we have now.
Mhm.
So redoing the shelves is a big deal.
So those are easier for us to write these letters saying, this is the project we're looking at coming up with for next year. We really need $10,000. What portion of this would you be willing? Because when you can go to a donor and you can say, So maybe we
what
need to look at
actually
it
trying
as a
to-
bigger project, Ted,
Yeah.
you're right, as opposed to just,
I
we need a
think
new book. It's like.
Or
what
we
do
need 10 new books for the children's library and that's gonna cost X amount of dollars. Can you contribute to
So
that? To
the
the
other-
individual? I like
Yeah,
that better.
The other thing is,
I
language classes. We're doing a lot of English classes here and we need materials. And some of the hoops that we're having to go through for materials is off-putting for some of the participants.
Mhm.
So if we had a fund that we could do for
Mhm.
specific projects like that, then I would agree to that.
Yeah,
The other thing, to your point, I would like to have maybe a wish list of articles that we need, not necessarily books, but materials for
Yeah.
art, or we need, we
Yep.
need
I
paper
think-
towels or something like that.
Hey, I
Yeah.
think we should be writing that list just anyway, you
Yeah.
know, like,
yeah.
like,
Because I think that there's, and I think when I said kind of, a wish list of books, but it could be a wish list for anything, because I think that a lot of people from a fundraiser
I
standpoint.
actually really like
Yeah.
if you get the receipt from the checking a book out,
Mhm.
it tells you how much you've saved.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
time. It's like the things like that, like kind of really
Mhm.
beating that home.
Mhm.
Almost like we should print that regardless of whether somebody wants it or not.
Yeah, maybe don't
You know,
ask.
yeah.
But for books, I think, yeah, for that would be good, but I think the people who are going to buy their books are gonna buy their books. They're
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
gonna wait for the library. It's
Mhm.
not their,
Right.
to their benefit to wait.
Mhm.
So, I think if we make it clear that we are trying to meet the demands
Mhm.
with the books,
Mhm.
because we can do it much more efficiently, with the funds that we have. But I honestly, I'm having trouble with Baker and Taylor with ordering books, so they're
Oh,
on
really?
back order right now. I'm
Oh.
really not happy right now, so I have to change ordering system. So that's been part of the problem, is we've had books that are on order, but they're on back
But they're
order.
back
They're
ordered, yeah.
not,
Is it because they don't have this?
they don't have it, and I've got to talk to
Mm.
somebody up there, because it's getting to be a problem.
And you can't order from another source?
I can, and I am starting, I've started ordering up, getting, because I'm not familiar, I was not trained on these, so I have to go back and figure out how to do that,
Mhm.
but Pearson's a way to order, and I've reactivated that account last week, so I am looking at,
And can
at
you
that.
order through Amazon?
I can, I'd rather not, but I will.
They,
But
they
it-
have a very bad billing system.
And they don't have I mean, I guess I could find out, but they don't have like a library or nonprofit. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
No.
I know like around the holidays,
Well,
they
they
do
make us
like
work on Indigenous people.
buy two, get one free for
No.
books, which might be beneficial.
The other thing is they carry a lot of paperbacks, and
Mhm.
we tend to not buy paperbacks.
Yeah,
when we
yeah,
can,
yeah.
so we buy
Yeah.
hardbacks, so, but it's, we could buy local as well, we could go and
Mhm.
get from the one local bookstores, we can buy copies from them, we will, but no, I've
But
been.
usually you
guess-
pay more.
Yeah,
Well,
just
but
you're
they
not
might,
getting
I bet, I mean, Dick might give you a discount on the book too.
He might be a good board member too.
He's
He's-
super busy.
okay.
I mean, we could ask him,
Yeah.
or we could ask Priscilla too.
Mhm.
Priscilla was a board member
She was,
and she doesn't.
she didn't, no, okay.
Uh,
All right, well, yeah, Dick's super busy.
I guess I look at where we budgeted the total in 2022 to 2023, we budgeted our total income going up $2,000.
Mhm.
And then budgeting to 2024, we went up, I guess, to 191,000. So when we're looking at now, we're only going up by less than $5,000 from last year. That just makes me concerned. We
They're
haven't
not
gotten to
there yet.
expenses yet, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of, are there other ways we could pull more income into? But if you came up with a list of new bookshelves, just
Material costs, yeah.
material costs, those types of things, those might be specific items we can then go out and fundraise. It's
Right.
hard to say, we just need money.
Right,
If we say we need money for A,
Right.
B, C, and each of those is, one of them is a $5,000 project, one of them is a 10,000. And we want to be careful that we're not getting into, which would make Ted's life harder, restricted funds
Yeah.
versus unrestricted. But if the numbers are accurate and we know we're gonna spend it, it really isn't going to be a problem at the end of the year, as long as we're spending the restricted.
I think we should approach it, the Friends.
Mhm.
This really is the Friends' job to raise money for the library.
Yeah. We honestly,
Well-
we have the same setup at the nonprofit I work for. We have the Friends of Weathersfield and they do the fundraising. We as, employees assist them with that, but the Friends are really the ones
Mhm.
responsible for the fundraising side of things. So it's, It is hard to see that the Friends have kind
Yeah.
of a $0
Yeah,
line.
but they're
I
down.
think we
But
need
If I
more
recall,
equipped.
the reason we did that last year, anybody correct me, was because the Friends are getting older and having problems getting
New
new
members.
members in, just as every volunteer organization is having a hard time getting volunteers.
Yeah.
So I believe the conversation was last year, increasing the efforts of the library board of trustees
Okay.
with the thought that the Friends can do what the Friends can do, and we can
Okay.
make
Yeah.
as much of a concerted effort as well.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
agreed.
That is,
I
what-
think that
that
makes
is
sense.
Right, that
absolutely,
was-
they are worked, they
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
cannot do anymore. They
Yeah.
cannot, there's down to 4 active
Yeah.
members essentially, and that they do the book sale all by themselves. So that's,
Okay.
I know, like we were saying, if we put went in our address for money, Friends membership, board membership, we just,
Mhm.
become a
Mhm.
member,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. That would help them out a lot.
Yeah.
And are there more, I think I ask this all the time, but like, I just wonder if there are more grants that we can
Yeah.
apply for, you know?
Absolutely.
Is there someone that we even want to pay to find those grants for us and apply for those grants for
Well,
us?
I think that's part of what you would love to do.
Yeah.
if you had the
Right,
time.
yeah, we ended up not getting to use that pocket of your brain
yeah, I'm-
because you got swamped with the staffing.
I'm going to be putting Bo on a grant for the seed money for the after school program. So that it's
And
exhilarating.
Annie's full-time, right?
She's full-time now,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But she's front end, like she
Yeah.
does the
Yeah, like
the front end
front
stuff.
side.
But she'd love to do grants. I mean, if we can find some more grants, but like that Dyson grant, I explored that several different ways and
Yeah.
it's very
So
convoluted.
what about a grant software? What would, I can look at the cost of a
Okay.
grant software.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or we have one at work, which I can't necessarily use for other
Yeah.
projects, but we use, what is it, I know it's not inexpensive, but even if you got a subscription for a month or 2 and dedicated like time in those 2 months to search for grants.
I think that's a good idea.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's money out there that we just aren't even aware of.
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely, yeah.
Mid Hudson may have lists of them.
Yeah.
And I just don't
Yeah.
know.
Instrumental is who we use.
And there's bullet grants that come up from during the legislature, and I just found out about those, so.
I think we need to go through the expenses. And then maybe circle back and see whether we need to adjust the income numbers. Because I think this is where we're gonna go awry. Um, So since we haven't used any of our $5,000 from this budget year. Do we need more for next year, or is 5,000 gonna be? We're on the expense sheet.
I would leave it at 5,000, even if we're gonna be under this year, because that'll give us.
Well, it doesn't necessarily carry over, but
No, I know, but that would, I mean, we budgeted 5,000, our actual has never been over 2,500.
right, so
But I think
we
that
still have a little room.
Yeah. And we can adjust that if the rest of it doesn't balance out, but.
That first line is 5,000?
Yeah,
Okay.
do we need more for building costs?
It looks like that's mainly just insurance. It doesn't look like we've had any repairs, maintenance.
Insurance will go up.
Yeah,
I'm
Always estimate 10% at least.
So we
That's
should,
still within the,
That's still within the
3,700.
3,700.
and do we have any, well, we shouldn't have to pay for any of the building
repairs.
repairs. Okay, so 3,700.
Equipment costs.
Equipment costs.
That's good.
So this is interesting
Wait.
because we're taking money out of a grant for
Mhm.
new equipment, for new
Mhm.
computers,
Mhm.
so that for.
But we're taking it out of the lodge money,
Yeah.
the capital, right?
If that's what you decide
Yeah,
to do.
I
yeah.
think
what we
that's what we
decided for the
decided
This
to
is what
do,
we're
yeah.
Yeah,
I lost track of you, so,
It was a
That's right. What did you decide about fundraising expenses for the Board of Trustees?
Same
We're
as
leaving
24,
it flat,
5,000,
yeah.
and same with building costs, the same.
Mhm.
3,700.
Yes, sir.
Okay, equipment costs,
Oops.
Software, hardware,
So our software may change because Adobe has not given us free software anymore, so we may have to have I just found this out
Oh,
last
okay.
week, so we may not have, I may have to pay for that. I'm trying to find a free,
what do we pay? Is that, I mean, that's not for PDF readers, but it's probably,
whenever I prepare a report, whenever I send a document out, I convert it and then are assembling it. So I'm trying to
Okay.
figure, they're trying to charge us, I think, 35 a month for that now, and I'm just trying to say no and try to
Okay.
find something else to do it, but I may not be able to.
yeah,
But it's for our internal use as well, for everybody uses
okay,
it too.
so you don't know what that would
I
cost
have
for
no
a
idea,
year
and
again?
I'm sorry, I just found this out.
No, that's fine.
It may be 500 a year, I have no idea.
But right now, we're at less
Oh,
than 50%,
so,
more than halfway through the year.
right, so it's 20, the year would be 2676, so should we say 3,000, should we say 3,200?
2676 at this current rate.
At
that
the
we're
current
running.
rate, it's 2676, so,
Just say 3,000.
yeah.
That would give a little bit of wiggle room if you have to
Mhm.
up that.
What was the 3,000 for?
Equipment
For
costs,
the equipment costs.
So you're lowering it by 1,000.
yeah,
Looks like the copier and fax is what, and then some furniture is what kind of bumped it up. In 2020, 2021. 2022.
Right, we were still trying to maintain that.
Mhm.
Now that we have the fax software, so is that part of this expense or the flat? Where are we putting that budget line in?
I think it must be,
In the software?
yeah. But that was a flat fee, so that was.
And that's gonna be an annual flat fee or?
Yes, it's an annual flat fee, so
Okay.
that showed up. It's not a monthly charge, it's just, no, he didn't, I don't think he amortized it, so I think it was a flat charge, so it's like 150 a year,
Okay,
so it's almost doesn't show up.
For grant expenditures, that's. What did that,
And what did you decide for grants? 5,000.
and we went up to 5567 so far this year.
And we had grants though from the previous year that we've been using.
Okay,
I
so should we,
It
would
seems
think,
like it's hard to pin
It's-
down,
yeah,
because
it's
it's
hard to
been
feel
wildly
exactly.
all over the
Yeah.
place. Like we got the $50,000 grant,
right,
but we've been nibbling at that.
Mhm,
but the year before, nothing.
mhm.
The year before, 2,000 roughly.
if you're gonna put down 5,000 as accepting, you should put 5,000 as leaving.
Okay,
You should just balance it.
Okay.
just balance it out, okay.
all right. Makes that easy. Okay, this insurance thing is cuckoo.
Yeah, why is our insurance, I meant to ask that at the last meeting, what, is there a tangible reason as to why the insurance is as low as it is?
We were talking about about paying for health insurance for Deanne.
Right,
Now we're talking about also looping it. We were gonna do a bundle and create a group so that you guys could get insurance.
It's not gonna work out, it's too expensive, it's better for us to stay as we are, but, so it worked for Alexis, contributing to her, health savings,
Yeah,
because she had insurance through her mother,
right.
which I don't.
Mhm.
So my insurance And
Well,
everybody
we
else.
were never gonna pay for everything. We weren't gonna
It's-
pay for 100%. We
it's-
were
But,
gonna
but
help
still,
pay
the cost of
into-
your insurance
Would be
to,
two more.
We're on the
two-
state exchange, we're on the exchange system.
and it's
Okay.
better to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your out-of-pocket insurance cost is gonna be over
It's
$3,000 a month.
It's awful. So if we stay on the exchange, there's no way to contribute to the health savings. There's no health savings that has to
Okay.
contribute to. So we have to come back and do something else. I was thinking of a retirement fund or something like that, or just bumping pay or something, but it will not work for health insurance.
Okay,
If we did a reimbursement for health insurance, then that's not taxable.
Like an
Like
FSA.
it, no, just
No.
a straight up. Who is the insurance provider that you've been talking to?
Oh, it's state exchange, so it's like Fidelis.
Okay.
There's no way to do that.
So I work with Marshall and Sterling out of Millbrook. They have a lot of really great information. They might be even willing, you don't think they'll even,
I've looked at them. They're the same policies that.
they are, but they could at least give us feedback on, so somewhere I worked previously, if all of us were employees in here, but only you elected to take the insurance through the employer, the rest of us would qualify for a reimbursement of up to a certain dollar amount. So it's literally, I would write a check to you every month for $500 to reimburse for
Take that.
your out of pocket. And it's not taxable because it's a reimbursement of something that we,
Wow. don't know
so
about that.
there's ways that we could look at it differently.
Interesting.
If you offer it to one, you have to offer it to everybody, so it would have to be you and Annie as full-time
Mhm.
year-round employees. You would not necessarily have to offer it to every hourly employee unless they're working more than 30 hours a week
Okay.
year-round. But there are ways that we don't have to necessarily offer the policy through the library, but contribute it. An FSA is another way to do it.
Mm.
I
We
can,
can
so
look
I
at-
can
yeah.
ask Marshall and Sterling and at least start there and see if we're not offering, I don't know if we can do it, if we're not offering a policy though, that would be my only question.
Mhm. So I went through that nonprofit that you had recommended and they were good, but the policies were still, he said
yeah.
it's not worth, it's
No.
not affordable for
Yeah.
us. It's not.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
So where does that leave us budgetary wise?
I think we still budget for it
So
and
leave
hope
it the
that we
same.
can
yeah.
figure out a way
Yeah.
to, help cover
I
some of the
think-
cost.
I
And if
think-
that ends up needing to go into salaries and wages because we can't offer it, then that's
Then
kind of a
we-
final
So
backup
be it,
plan.
yeah.
Well, you kind of got to watch out because you may raise them over the limit
Mhm.
and cause
Yeah,
them
and then
now to
cause them
go
to-
over and now they off the system.
They wouldn't, so New York State, the exchange can't kick you off unless you have another insurance. So if we were to offer a plan and you just elected not to take it, then you would be kicked off. But the dollar amount of what you would be paying if you go over, that's how it's based on salary. So if we were to raise your pay by 10%, that might change what you qualify for on the exchange, but it won't kick you off. So that's something we can,
So it becomes more expensive though.
it could become more,
Yeah.
and I don't know what
I don't
what
either.
the range is for
Yeah.
income, that's.
I will find out I have a meeting about the 15th, so I'll find out in a few days about
Okay.
what that limit is.
Okay. But they can't, the exchange can only kick you off if you have if you have an employer who offers insurance.
Right.
Yeah, they can't kick you off if you're making too much money because you still legally in New York State have to have insurance.
Right.
And if your employer doesn't offer it, that's what the exchange is for. So,
Right.
but the cost might,
The cost
Change.
increases, yeah.
so I mean, my suggestion would just be keep that line of insurance.
But I would increase it because we now have 2 employees instead of 2 permanent
Mhm.
or full-time instead of.
Mhm.
Do we want to make it more than 76.50?
Or so our workers' comp disability,
You want to raise the workers' comp disability.
yeah, by at least 10% probably.
Yeah.
So do we push it up to just 10,000?
Okay,
Sounds about right.
okay. All right, library programming.
Wait a minute, are you gonna break that, the disability? You have it now 1,650. Are you just saying that you wanna make the limit 10,000 for
For
all
all of the
three?
insurance, I think that's,
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine, just the
If
way,
you wanna, if it's easier for you to break that up, however, we need to, I would say increase the disability and workers' comp by 10%.
Mhm.
And then put the rest to
In
health
health
insurance.
health insurance, okay.
Okay, so why are we so low on the library programming? Is that because of Molly?
No, because I didn't get the chance to start programming and it's just now starting to kick in.
Okay, so we'll get up, so are we leaving it
Are
at
we
the
gonna
10?
get to 10% or 10,000?
You have an additional 7,000 to spend. Between now and the end.
I
of the
will not
year.
spend that, but I have started ramping up. So the
Mhm.
artists I've hired, we will,
Mhm.
and the,
So
so
should we
For
leave it
next
for
year,
there
if
for
we
next
leave it
year?
at 10. you
it's a
think
good
that's-
amount.
okay.
That's a good amount.
What was the amount?
10,
10,000?
You're gonna keep it as it is?
yes.
Did we spend some of our programming money on the summer camp? We used to
We
do a
used-
lot of stuff for them.
Use the grants,
We use the
use
grants.
the grants.
And that's why, that's one reason why we haven't spent programming because we because the Dee Dee Barrett grant came in right at summer reading and we just
Okay,
threw it all into that.
Plus the friends get that $500 that they threw
Right.
in. Fine.
So
okay, but if the timing doesn't work, are we gonna be spending that money on?
oh yeah,
Well, you,
I'm sorry.
Are we going to be really needing to increase our budget line, because what if things don't line up the same way and the summer costs more?
well, you know you're gonna get the 5,500 in
Mhm.
January.
It's coming in January.
Mhm.
So
So you need, put it aside and say, this is for, whatever you
Okay.
want. In this case, maybe summer.
Mhm.
But the
Okay.
summer program is also not our program, so
Well, I
I
think
feel
that's-
But we've been paying
feel
into it
like
for a lot.
we can
Yeah.
adjust. I mean, the summer program that they did this year, they adjusted a lot. They no longer did field trips places as much. They
Mhm.
had people come to them. And I think that their costs are probably down because of that.
See.
You know, the change of it is,
But I don't think the town is viewing that as it's our money now.
no, I
They're gonna
agree, I
expect us to
agree.
keep
But
paying
I
in.
don't think there's no written contract saying we have to provide programming for the
That's true.
towns. The
Yep,
town
you're
summer
right.
camp.
No, but don't you think it's goodwill?
I think it definitely is goodwill.
And it's a
But-
good introduction, my view is it's a good introduction to the kids
Kids.
to the library as a resource.
if they get to the
Well,
Right,
if
library.
they're not
think
coming
that
to
it's
the
a-
library.
That's a
but-
valid
yeah.
point.
So they don't come here anymore.
don't
They used
come
to
anymore?
walk here. used
They
to
came
walk
here.
It got really hot. and
Yeah, they
stopped.
came here one
Even
time,
Yeah.
one time, and there
Right.
the performers all went there except for the
No,
last
I guess
one.
it's Andy Anderson. He didn't like. He was trying to avoid taking the kids anywhere and bringing everything to them because honestly, it's easier for them when you have 100 kids,
Sure, I get it.
but
But part of the fun is going places.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah. yeah,
having
so,
gone to camp.
yeah.
But they
I mean,
did,
I think it is goodwill. I think we definitely should do something, but if
If he's not bringing them
if
here,
he's not bringing them here,
right,
if we're taking, I mean, what were the programs that we gave them last year? They weren't necessarily,
there was entertainment.
they were entertainment.
Yeah, they were the entertainers that came once a week and
So we
Mhm.
sponsored those for them.
Yeah.
to
I
the.
guess no one wants to
Not
learn like the
have
Dewey
grant money.
Decimal System.
So,
at
yeah.
camp.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
we use
makes
grant
sense.
So I guess then circling back, if that's all coming out of grants anyway, or the vast majority of that money
Mhm.
comes from grants, we're still
And we
staying
have
at
some-
$10,000 for programming.
right.
Mhm.
Now, looking at the historical line with the library programs, we've never gotten up to 10,000 with the programming.
My mother's calling. They're-
Mhm.
So this year for the library, for the summer camp, we used grant money. So the
Mhm.
rest of the 10,000 was strictly for our use.
Yeah.
It was for internal use.
Is there a way we can separate that? So we can see how much of the money is specifically going to the summer camp?
For the performers, but it was
It's almost $2,500
Yeah, it's about $2,500.
Okay, total for the year, for the summer.
plus,
Mm,
let's say 3,000,
Okay.
because you got, the other thing.
And that was under the grant
That
expenditures?
we took that right out of the grants.
Okay, I think what would be helpful, at least from my perspective, is to see the grant expenditures, what's being spent on that, since it's a separate program, it's not.
You get a grant,
There's a grant.
There's a
report
grant
every month
and
Okay.
every
in the bundle.
paper, every month.
I guess I didn't fully understand that that's what it was going
Yeah,
for,
that's-
but, okay.
So we'll use grant money before to expense things
Mhm.
first.
Mhm.
So if there's a grant, if there's a pile that's unrestricted, then we'll take whatever expense. And I'm
Okay.
just learning this. Ted's
Mhm.
teaching me how to do
Okay.
this, but it's to, that money can go through grant.
Mhm.
We don't touch some of the grants for the summer.
Yeah.
So,
Like this year, we paid mostly with Dee Dee Barrett's grant. Is that correct?
Mhm.
So this is the breakdown
Okay,
under the Dee Dee Barrett grant.
okay,
Dee Dee the Clown, the Raptor Center,
Mhm.
all of that.
And for the other supplies, like prizes for the scavenger hunt or food or whatever,
Okay.
the treats,
Those-
things for the kids for.
I will say those prices are not as high as I imagined.
Oh, yeah.
When we would so we did a kids camp at the club. Every time an entertainer came, Dee Dee, the clown or whatever her name is, she would be 3 times that amount, so I'm sure they build based on. Sure,
Yeah.
they build based on location too, but, so that, thank you for showing me that.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful for. Cause my comparison is much
Well, yeah.
higher for programming for summer camp expenses, based on what I've seen, so.
Have we,
Marketing,
to marketing, what have you spent the marketing money on that, the report?
Mainly software,
Okay,
like every month when we send out our newsletter, that software, any expenses on those lines are for the marketing.
Okay.
What do you use? Constant Contact? What do you use?
MailChimp
MailChimp.
and, so it's
okay, so
Adobe.
that's a monthly cost?
Mhm, mhm.
So they charge you by how much you send out, or?
No, it's a
just a
flat fee.
Okay. So
It's a flat
1,000
fee.
is appropriate for that?
That
Are you
and.
getting metrics on that? Like, are you looking at the open rate and,
Mm-hmm.
all that? And click-through rate and?
Mhm. Well, we don't, yeah, click through. We don't, I haven't looked at it lately, but yeah, we do.
Is our intention to increase that at all? We're on track to meet the $1,000.
Yeah,
Unless their costs change, unless we want to change programming. MailChimp is not great.
Did you look
A
at
little-
Constant Contact?
I have not looked at Constant Comment, but I've looked at what their capability, I mean, I've thought about it because MailChimp has got some limitations. It's ugly, It's not
yeah,
very
no, and
pretty.
it's very wonky.
Yeah, I
There's
don't.
another one we used at work, like called like Dolly or Molly or something. I can't remember. but it-
Constant Comment can put together some nicer looking newsletters, and that's what I was looking at, because
Yeah,
graphic
we
sampling,
should
it's-
try to get a quote on what that might be. To see if we can change the budget on that, but.
Do you believe it's more?
I
Less or
do.
the
I think
same?
it's more.
I think it's gotta be more.
It's
So
gotta be-
1,500
Yeah,
as
I
a
think-
budget
I
line?
Yeah.
think 1,500.
mhm.
I don't
Or
know.
more,
I
yeah.
have no idea.
Fair
Sorry.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find that.
So right now, so in that projection that Alexis did, she gave us. She had us bump up the collections number. We bumped it up. She had originally said 14 for 2024, but then we bumped it up. So I think we should increase it again. She had for 2025, her projection was 16,000, but in her original draft budget for 2024, it was 14, so we had increased it already. So
So constant contact's $80 a month, so
Oh,
I
that's a
think 15.
lot more than what we.
$1,800 covers that.
What are we paying now?
$15.
$15?
You could, like, there's, I looked at the most expensive
Yeah.
program, so
And they may have some
they
places
have
have,
tiers, they have 3 tiers.
yeah, we get the bottom tier on. MailChimp.
Okay, I was confusing Ted. So in Alexis's, these are the old projections. In her draft budget, it was 14,000 for materials.
For 2024,
Thank
For
you.
2024, we bumped that up to 15.
right,
In this projection, when the draft was 14, we increased it to 16. So I'm saying we should at least go up to 17,000 for materials. We need to keep increasing that line,
Mhm.
not,
How did we move to materials? Hold on.
yeah,
Sorry.
it was, yeah, it was 1,500 for marketing.
for marketing, yes.
So we're at 17,000 for materials.
I think at least. Cause we gotta try to keep ahead so we can buy some books as well as ebooks.
Yes. Yes,
So we gotta keep moving that number.
because we could suck it up with audiobooks. Suck up the entire budget if we let it.
But not all digital is audiobooks. I mean, it's a lot of it, but.
75%.
Just to give you an idea of where we are compared to the income we did, we have $1,700 less left to increase for the rest of the budget,
Okay.
based on the income projections that we did.
Mhm.
So just keep that in mind.
You haven't
Right.
hit
Well,
payroll
that's
yet.
what.
And we
knew
haven't hit
were gonna
payroll
have
yet,
to-
and
We
yeah.
haven't hit payroll, we haven't hit staff
Yes,
development.
7 lines,
yet.
$100.
To what, a half a cent
We could cut
increase in
$50
payroll
off
per-
of miscellaneous.
More than that.
I can just speak for myself. I'm appreciative of all of you because budgeting is not my, I don't know how you do it.
I do.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how Ted does it. This is not my forte. I appreciate both of you.
I went to school for art history and ended up here in some magical combination of events, so. For miscellaneous, I think
Honestly,
$100 is probably fine.
I think 100 is perfect.
Yeah.
We're usually able to bucket something, you know,
Yeah,
figure
can
out
look it
somewhere to
somewhere,
put someplace.
absolutely. Payroll expenses, so it looks
Oh.
like we're on.
Is that,
Before we get to
Okay.
the payroll,
Mhm.
I gave you a sheet that has the.
This one?
Yeah, the one that looks like this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is this yours?
I don't know. I'll just use yours if it's not, if it is.
I want to make sure. that-
No, I've got one here.
You got I have a direct conflict of interest,
Mhm.
so I do not want to participate.
Okay,
You have made my daughter a salaried employee,
mhm,
so I will not participate in that part of this discussion. But so that you have the information, let me run you through
mhm,
this sheet of paper.
Mhm.
Your gross salaries. By the way, this is an open meeting.
Mhm.
mhm.
Thank you for that.
You
reminder.
cannot say
Numbers.
the names,
The names,
Okay.
okay.
Okay,
okay? The directors she came in part-time. Not part-time, she came in part of the year,
right,
okay? She receives $2,083 per pay period. Okay, and there are 2 pay periods per month.
mhm,
Thus far, she has received, and I think you can read it yourself, the
Mhm.
20,833. Going through to December of this year, it will be 37,500.
mhm,
Okay. Now, if you go, keep going straight across, if you maintain the exact thing, the salary would be $50,000 a year.
mhm.
Going to the assistant underneath
Mhm.
the directory. It's 1,480 per pay period. By December, she will have gotten $13,320. Next year, the salary would be 35,520.
How many hours, sorry, Ted, I don't want to interrupt, but how many hours a week is that?
40 hours a week.
40 hours? Okay, thank you.
Making the total gross salaries through August 22,313. Through December 50,819. But don't forget, she started
Mhm.
8/15. Okay, meaning the whole year, all the way across now, will be 35,000, meaning that the gross salaries
Right.
for next year are 85,500,
Right.
basically.
Yep.
Okay. Going down, Nelson.
Mm-mm.
Hmm?
Or we can say that
We
person's
can
name.
say his name.
Oh, phooey. The bookkeeper, thank you.
Right.
137.50 gets currently.
Is
If
he
you,
gonna need a raise?
That's for
Expect a
him to
raise?
decide as a contractor.
Okay.
He's a contractor.
Yeah.
Okay.
technically,
did-
he's supposed to say,
Mhm,
but I tell you right now, he grumbles if you don't do it.
mhm.
Right,
And Nelson is a very valuable part
Yep.
of getting what we need done when we need it.
Mhm.
So his is $1,650 a year.
right.
Okay. Alexis,
She's-
I keep doing that.
Wait, can we go back up to the
Director.
second line though,
Or
the
the assistant?
assistant?
Yeah.
So that rate of pay is for 2 weeks. So that's 80 hours. That
Mhm.
comes out to 18.50 an hour. In my brain, this is just a little bit better, times 40 hours a week, times 52 weeks out of the year. That 2025 number right now is 35,520.
Mhm.
I think it should be 38,480.
So we're doing 20, it's bi-monthly, not,
Well,
Okay.
bi-monthly is
It's
every
not
2 months.
weekly.
no, I'm sorry, no,
Every
it's
2 weeks.
bi-monthly, every,
Bi-monthly is every 2 months, bi-weekly is every 2 weeks.
how do they
No.
do that?
And it's the
Semi-monthly.
Semi-monthly,
It's
semi-monthly,
two.
semi-monthly, that's
two
what
pay
it is.
periods per month.
Okay,
So we don't pay, we don't,
Okay.
so I
It's
get
not-
paid
it's
every
not-
I get paid every other Friday.
No, it's
not
not
done that way.
Fridays.
It's not
It's
done.
Every-
it's the
it's the
15th
first
and the
and the
30th, the
15th.
first and the 15th.
okay, that makes more sense then,
Okay.
because I was looking at it.
I know,
trying to-
but it,
Okay.
Why?
That was gonna be my next question. Why do we do it that way?
That's
Shit,
the
I
way the
used to get
payroll
paid
company does it.
monthly.
That's the way the payroll company does
Huh.
it.
What's the payroll company?
GTM.
GTM.
I mean, I guess we can change it however we want.
I'm sure
Does it
they're
matter?
flexible.
I don't
I'm sure
know.
they're flexible that way, but
So,
this is
It
actually.
used to be Ulster Savings used to do it. They sold out to GTM. You've had no problem with GTM.
no,
Okay.
Leave it.
Don't
Yeah,
look
leave
for
it,
it.
Yeah.
but if we are classified though, here's the deal, if we're, I'm classified here as an exempt, which they should have notified us that
Yeah.
I was not exempt.
Did that change occur during the year or last year?
It started
or-
in March of last year.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, March of this year. March of this
Okay.
year is when
Okay,
that
yes.
change came over.
GTM should have told you about that.
So you can call them up and ask them.
Yeah, but neither Annie and I are neither one of
They
us
may just-
exempt.
They might just be a payroll processing
I think they
company.
are.
I don't think that would be a human resources.
Yeah,
thing,
that's
Yeah.
true.
unfortunately, because I have to do both and I know nothing about the human resources
Mhm.
side of things, to be honest, because those things change and your payroll processor is probably just contracted to pay you. You would be responsible as the employer for.
Right,
us
notifying them of when
And
the,
then, yeah.
So in that sense, if we're going back to hourly, then your 2,080 hours a year is what we would we would base this on if we were hourly instead of salary.
So that number, I guess, I was trying to, for me, it's easier to look at the equivalent of an hourly, especially when we get down to the hourly people here.
Mhm.
So that 1480 would be times 2 for the month, times 12,
It's 30.
which is
80.
35. That's where that number here
Yeah.
comes in. So that is correct for the full year. So if you divide that by 52 weeks in the year, divided by 40 hours a week.
It's 1850.
No, it's 1707.
Oh,
It's
gosh.
1708.
Yeah, so we
So
need to,
that's where, and that's why, because looking down below at what the hourly people are at, that's why I wanted to. So that was
Yeah.
actually a pay cut by
Yeah.
making her full-time
Yeah.
salaried
right,
employee. So 1708 is her current hourly equivalent, and if we were to do the other thing the line above that. Divided by 52, divided by 40, granted, I understand that there's more hours, that's 2404. Is the hourly
Hourly
equivalent,
equivalent.
yeah. I think it's important to look at it that way when I mean, there are
Yeah.
benefits, there's, vacations, paid time off, things like that as a salaried employee, but
It makes it easier too if we were to increase the hourly employees by anything.
Correct, because you're gonna be hitting up against them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
so I think
Yeah.
this standard is 5% per year. That's a big bump in our budget. But the cost of living
Well,
for 2025.
well, what are you saying the cost of living is? Because what I heard was 2.5,
Mhm.
and then usually, and this is, usually you do what you want.
Exactly,
It,
yeah.
the board usually threw in another 1%,
Mhm.
and that, so you got ahead a little bit.
I guess I'm looking at the human resources numbers that are coming out from kind of like the national average of salary increases for all organizations, not just tax exempt organizations, is 5% for 2025. It's 5% for 2024. We're a nonprofit, so some of those companies, that's just the national average of what the kind of global job market is looking at. So you do with that number what you want, but I would just say that's I don't know in the past what that change has been.
Well, the assistant was meant to be 1850 an hour. It was meant to be 1850 an hour. And I'm looking at livable wages across the region, which is 24
Mhm.
minimum for
Mhm.
anybody,
Yeah.
for a single person with no children. Is 24 an hour.
Yeah, it's just nuts.
well, we have, and the truth is honestly, both of you should not be really involved in this conversation. It's
Mhm.
not appropriate. And I believe that last year we had Alexis go off and we
Mhm.
talked about it as a board, just to be able to say everything we
Mhm.
need to say. But,
So maybe what we do is, why don't we skip this part and go down to the bottom part
Mhm.
and then
And
we come
then-
back to this
Come back to
part.
that.
Is
Yeah.
that good?
yeah,
So,
Okay.
Just as I said to you,
Yeah.
I don't want to be involved
Yeah.
in this.
Mhm.
I'm just explaining this chart.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
all I'm doing.
no, I know,
Yeah,
but
we
we
get
were, we were about to launch into a whole conversation
Well,
about real
no, let me
numbers,
just
which
finish,
we're gonna
and then-
wait, yeah,
yeah,
I
let's
can-
finish.
I can leave.
okay.
Jordan, you can see the rest of the town.
Don't name
Names.
You can see that Alexis is gone, Mary's gone,
Right,
Annie's been shifted, Moffat's gone. The youth programmer is gone, the temporary page is gone,
It's really
the other youth
bottom two.
programmer is
It's,
gone.
we
The only
just
two
got into
left
the
are
two.
Jordan and, the only two left are the clerks.
We have 2 clerks.
There are 2 clerks. You're paying them $16 an hour.
How many hours were they hired
It-
for
it-
each week?
20 a week.
But they're not doing that. It's
They're doing more than that?
less, I think.
No, this shouldn't be.
is this an hourly, this is their
Yeah,
hourly,
hourly.
that's not the number of hours per week they're
That's the rate per pay
working, that's
period.
their rate per,
They should be
At the
about,
rate per
Rate per
hour.
hour.
okay.
they switch out between, one gets, more hours, one pay period, and the other gets less, and then we switch it out.
Okay.
Okay.
And that, minimum wage increases next year.
To what?
Right.
To
1540, 50.
1650, 1650.
So
Right,
that
that's the minimum.
helps if
But
I'm
we're
wrong.
not paying them, minimum is 15 right now. And our, we have then that person's not on here, is our page, we're calling them the page, which is, helps me with the program, the after-school program.
Okay.
But we don't pay for her.
We do pay for her,
We do.
yes.
What do we
But
pay
they
her?
just started this month, 15. Yeah, I was,
Okay.
We
Okay, so
used
you're using
to-
you're using the former youth programming salary to cover that
That is-
because that person is no longer here and who is gonna be the one doing it. Is that correct? Is the page taking place of the youth programmer for the after-school program?
yes.
Okay.
So that's they just started in like 2 weeks ago. So that's, we need to, I thought
What I did was I looked at the payroll sheet,
right.
and for one period, they worked X amount of hours for one clerk, and they worked X amount of hours for the other clerk. And I simply took that and went out
Extrapolate,
for that.
Okay,
I was not aware that they were switching all over.
okay.
So my figures are off base.
They'll balance out. It'll balance out because it's 20 hours a week for each one. So it's or
Okay,
thereabouts.
well, now you have
We'll
that
have-
information, you can figure
We'll
it.
have to talk about Annie.
Okay.
But anyway, the point is they were hired approximately 20 hours a week, each one.
Right,
The page works 10 hours a week
mhm.
at 15 an hour. But that amount goes up to
1650.
1650.
Right
That's
now,
where it
she-
gets really tricky when you have people who are raising so that is minimum wage is a 3.1% increase from this year to next year. So you have people who are
Everyone's gotta go up
$15
At least that.
who are gonna go up $1.50 an hour, and then you have the people who are at $16 who are gonna go up 50 cents an hour.
Kaylee's not here and. or
Realistically,
This person's not here.
the
No, we
page.
do have a
Oh,
page
oh,
that
you
works
do have
every
a
day.
page,
Yeah,
okay.
works every
Okay.
afternoon.
And that's where it gets really tricky.
So I hired the two clerks at $1 above minimum wage, and I think it would be important to keep them above.
Oh, they should, yeah, they should rise.
At
If
least.
they're getting $1
Equivalent.
more than the other person now, they shouldn't only be getting 50 cents more than that person next year,
Right.
but it's just.
Well, we can have
complicated.
all that in executive session.
Yeah, we can
Yes.
have all that, yeah.
Okay, so let's move down. Why don't we move
Yeah,
down to
let's-
postage?
There you go.
Seems like a much less heated conversation.
Now, I guess the question is, did we?
Is it included in the fundraising?
It should, it
Right,
should be.
So
Should
I don't know. He uses postage for mailing out people that we owe money to. So all our contractors, our things like that
Okay.
that's part of that, right? That's what you.
Yeah.
So I don't think fundraising should be, I don't know.
Okay,
That seems
so-
like a
yeah,
But it
separate.
looks like we can come
No.
down to like $400 for postage.
Mhm.
I mean, we need to be chipping
Yeah.
away anyway, I think.
But you're
so.
gonna wait a minute. Who's mailing out the postcard?
that
It's
should be
included.
That's
the
a-
fundraising expense.
That's a fundraising.
You're gonna
expense.
count that
Yeah.
Yes,
as
yes.
an
it's a big
expense
cost.
of, out of the 5,000 then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Cause there's enough wiggle room there, and I think
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yep,
It's part of that. So yeah, let's bring the postage down to 400.
Okay.
you were saying you wanted more for staff
I do.
development.
So staff development, I can't even go to DCLA meetings when pay for gas because they're all 50, it's a 50-mile round trip to go
Mhm.
to staff. And I really get a lot out of those
Yeah.
staff development,
Yeah.
those DCLA meetings and any kind of Poughkeepsie
Mhm.
meeting and stuff like that. So yeah, I
So the
definitely would like-
mileage is considered the
The travel and-
staff
Travel.
Yeah, travel training, that's part of it.
Okay.
And we're not covering it.
So should we say $1,000?
Oh, no, I would say 1,500 actually,
We don't
because
have 1,500 left.
That's,
It's
Can
an
we,
additional, well, we took off 100, we had 1,700, we took off 100, so we had 1,800, so I guess we could, then we would have. If we add 600, then we would have an additional, $800 left.
if,
That was
Well,
not the
how
best
about-
math I've ever done in my
can
career.
we
How about
can we move it to 1,200?
1,200? That's what I was
And
gonna
then,
suggest.
I mean, the
1,200.
number that we bumped up a lot was the materials. I know that's what we do.
Right, no,
So,
there's always gonna be,
1,200 would be good.
Okay, so supplies, you're not gonna hit the 4,000, right?
I don't think so.
so what's the difference between copier supplies down there
And
and
other,
copier fax
Oh.
under equipment costs? I guess?
Machines. Machines is the equipment,
oh,
versus
repairing the
paper.
machine for paper,
Right.
okay,
paper is on the supplies.
okay.
but now that we're using the digital fax, no, it's.
Well,
still-
that didn't really, as far, I don't know how, that was, I think the Konica was when y'all were leasing the Konica.
Hmm,
That was part of, now we own this Canon.
okay,
There could be, eventually there will be repairs needed
But
on
that's not in
it.
this line.
okay.
That's, no,
That's the
So,
equipment.
can we go to $3,000 for this line?
I think so. That would be safe with paper. I think that's mainly
Okay,
paper and
so we
toner and
just
stuff.
Gained another $1,000,
Mhm.
Wait a minute, what was that? Say it again.
$3,000.
Supplies,
Instead of,
we're going.
That a 4, okay.
in.
Okay, utilities and services,
that's steady.
yep.
And that,
And is that-
trash may go up. I don't, they
They
just,
just
But
went
they
up.
just
they just
bumped it
went
up.
up. Okay.
I mean, I think we can go down to 7,000 for that. It's only 850, but it's better than nothing. Because looking back, it's been 3,000, 5,000, 5,000, 6,000. Telephone cost isn't gonna change the Mid Hudson fee.
We're actually tracking to 7,749.
Are we,
so-
okay. So let's keep it there, 78.50.
Especially with the increase.
I mean, gas is, I was in, where was I yesterday? In Hudson, gas was below $3.
In Newburgh too. I was in Newburgh on Friday.
292.
I spent $2.99 the other day in Hudson.
I was
Yeah.
like, I wish I hadn't gotten it filled at $3.25.
Yeah. Every time I go to Hudson.
Well, every time I go to Kingston, I try and fill up,
Mhm.
there's like that really cheap, like no brand gas
Yeah.
station right across from Lowe's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And I'm like,
Yep.
I don't even know what I'm putting in my car, but I don't care. It's cheap.
all right, so let's see where that puts us.
okay, and then we have to have the salary.
So are we leaving it at 78.50?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're gonna have to step up our fundraising.
One thing before I leave,
We can,
Yes, Ted?
yeah.
Okay.
on the sheets that you're looking at right now,
Mhm.
the payroll expenses, the FICA, then gross salaries. It says 32,899. There's been a mistake and I realized it when I went to prepare the paper this morning. Alexis's has been, she was paid hourly all year
Oh,
and nobody picked up the
Change.
fact that it should have been in the hourly category instead of the salary. That's
right,
why this sheet over here that you have is incorrect with her. The
okay,
sheet that I gave you with this is correct.
okay.
Okay, so just keep that in mind when you have your discussion.
Okay.
Can I ask you, what time it is?
It is 11:30.
Okay. I would assume that one of you
Mm,
will
Got it.
prepare for me a final
number,
document,
Yes.
yeah,
okay? And then send it to me
Yeah.
so that I can look it over and then get it to Nelson,
Yes.
okay,
okay?
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you,
You
Ted.
We did, the board has to vote on this before
Yeah,
it becomes.
yeah. But I would like to see it
Okay.
before we. go ahead.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm like,
Absolutely.
why am I not coming up? So everything that we've calculated so far comes out to 67,750. That is
67,
not
67,
67,750.
750.
That is not
Okay.
including the salaries.
Okay, so that's.
Do y'all want me to go? Do you want to turn this into
No, I
executive?
think we actually need you for the first half of this conversation.
So that means we have 1:30 left.
That means if you add
Yeah.
yes for yes.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for a discussion regarding payroll and payroll budgeting with the director
I'll
for a
second.
part of it.
For part of it.
Aye.
Hold on.
Either you wanted to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So weird that it's.
And I think honestly, at this point, we probably won't go back to
Okay.
maybe we should vote to
Should we come out of executive?
come out of
session right now
executive
and then
session
end it?
and so that we can turn off the open, the
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what they do at the town.
the YouTube. This is, so what we do is we vote to go into executive
you.
session, we vote to come out of executive session. Because there's not gonna be a vote on what we talk about in executive session, we've talked about everything else.
Okay.
So and then we will conclude the meeting, so that we can turn off the open meeting.
Okay,
the
so we can
YouTube.
It's how they
Just
do it.
turn it off,
Okay.
yeah.
So we're.
Wait, we don't have Ethan, but I guess we're still.
Well, he
quorum.
already,
Yeah. We voted to go into
Yeah,
executive
okay.
session. I will make the motion to come out of executive session.
I'll second that.
And all in
Okay.
favor,
Aye.
and then we will.
Okay.
Adjourn the meeting.